Hey guys, it's Kelly. So today I'm going to be doing my June wrap-up and book haul. So, peep the new haircut though. All the ombre is gone, so it feels extremely weird to have all my dark hair back again, but I really like it. Anyway, let's move on to the topic of this video. The reason that you're here. This month in June, I bought 7 books and I read 13. So I am super proud of myself, mostly because I read so many books and it's a great start to my goal for the summer, which is to read 30 books. So I think I'm well on my way. Also, it's still a little early in June, so I plan on reading at least one more book, but I want to film and edit this video now because I'm going on vacation. So first we shall start with the book haul. The first book I bought this month was A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. I've heard some things about this book. I've heard it was very cute and adorable, and it sounds like a very nice love story. I have not read it yet, so I'm super excited to dive into it. The next book I bought was The Promise of Amazing by Robin Constantine. I've heard this book being recently mentioned a lot with the sayings that it is very cute and adorable romance, not to mention it is somewhat realistic. Yeah, is that what it is? I don't know, but I love summer contemporary cutesy romances. In the summertime, I'm a sucker for those, so as you can see from the rest of my book haul, they're all pretty much the same type of book. The next book I bought is Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This book was released last year and I've heard pretty good things about it. It wasn't the best book that people have read. It hasn't been like overhyped and stuff, but I've still heard a lot of people liking it, but I think I'll really enjoy it. Not to mention I also read Nina LaCour's other book, The Disenchantments, and I enjoyed it. The next book I bought is Every Day by David Levithan, or Leviathan, I really don't know. I'm going to say Levithan, so yeah. This book I was supposed to read a while back for my Book Invaders Book of the Month, but honestly, I haven't got the chance to read it yet until now. Yeah, I read this book this month, so that's why I'm not going to say too much, but oh my gosh, guys, it was so good. Next book I purchased was Love, Fortunes, and Other Disasters by Kimberly Corralius. This book I also read this month. It's, I think, a new release, so that's why I haven't seen it around, but honestly, I bought this book mostly because of the cover. This cover is so cute and adorable, and I also enjoy the book too, but you know, the cover. The next book I have, or rather, it's a manga. I have The Heroic Legend of Arslan Volume 2, by Yoshiki Tanaka and Hiromu Arakawa. This is the second book in, obviously, the Heroic Legend of Arslan series. And the last book I bought this month is P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I also read this book this month and I really liked it. It is the sequel to All the Boys I've Loved Before, which follows Lara Jean and all of her problems. Yeah, I read this book this month too, so I'll talk about it more in the wrap-up portion. Okay, so on to the wrap-up portion of this video. Like I said, I read 13 books. I also plan on reading one more. Oh, I'll show you what that one more book is now. But throughout this month, I've been reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've really been enjoying it. However, I haven't got the chance to finish it because for me, I'm going a little bit slower reading this book because of the writing, and I want to understand it. It's not confusing at all, it's just I have to take my time in order to grasp it better, you know? But I really like it and I'm about halfway through, so I will definitely try to finish this book this month. Okay, so on to the books that I actually read and finished, in no particular order I might add. So in the beginning of this month, during my final exam week, I decided to read a series that I love and adore, and I was just in the mood for it, and that is the Mother-Daughter Book Club series by Heather Vogel Frederick. I mentioned this book in my summer recommendations video. I'll link that down below so you can check it out. Yeah, I read this book a long time ago, and I don't know what it is, but I just wanted to pick it up and read it, and it's a really fun and easy going read. I'm not going to explain it because you can watch my summary in the summer reading recommendations video. The next book I read is Broken Hearts, Fences, and Other Things to Mend by Katie Finn, or Morgan Madsen. This is her pen name. I enjoyed this book. I gave this book, I believe it was more of a 3.75 out of 5 stars. This book follows a girl named Gemma, and recently she's broken up with her boyfriend and she's kind of heartbroken about it. She goes to stay at her father's friend's beach house with her dad, and along the way she encounters some old enemies or frenemies maybe. She pretends to be someone she's not. And the reason she pretends to be someone she's not is to try to mend a broken friendship from the past. Not to mention finding new romances. I like this book, but for me, reading this book, the main character Gemma being caught up in a lie with mixed identities, it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't really like that aspect of it because it filled me with so much like stress, because you know she's gonna get caught. I mean, you have to, you know that, right? So it just throughout the entire story, I was just freaking out for her, and it wasn't as enjoyable as I wanted it to be. But the Josh in this book is freaking adorable. He is like dream guy, okay? Let me just put that out there. If this book intrigues you, then totally check it out. There's also a sequel to it, but I don't think I'll be picking it up. P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I feel like I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly, the sequel to 12 Boys I've Loved Before, it wasn't very impressive for me. I don't know. I felt like there was so much unnecessary conflict with like the past boyfriend showing up and all that issues with Genevieve. Okay, the issues with Genevieve I felt were somewhat necessary to the plot line. Like, I felt like it was just kind of grasping for a plot line at this point. But I felt like if anything, Genevieve should have been the main issue instead of this new guy coming back for the past. Although I did like John. I felt this book was kind of unnecessary. It was still cute though. It had its very cute moments. I dug the very cute moments. But overall, this book should never really have happened. Honestly, the first 2 chapters were good, were set, and then everything after that was just kind of like, eh. But I still like it because Jenny Han, so, and Peter and Lergine, so, you know. You take what you can get. In June, I sort of kind of participated in the Rainbow-thon. Yeah, the Rainbow-a-thon hosted by, I know like Riley Marie was in it. So I sort of kind of tried to participate in that, but overall, I really didn't. It was just to motivate me to read. So I read some books that kind of corresponded with the books in the Rainbow-thon. Yeah. That makes sense? I don't know. Anyway, so more books. Pretty Tough by Liz Tigalar. I DNF'd this book for quite a long time. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it at the time, but for some reason I just picked up where I left off and I just started reading it again. I really liked it. Basically, this book is about 2 sisters, Charlie and Krista. They are complete opposites. They kind of hate each other for reasons you will see in the book. They're very hostile and cruel towards each other, but that all changes when there's a new soccer coach who enlists Charlie to come play with them and to try out for the team. But soccer is more Krista's area. They soon have to work together to perform and to try to win the whole season. Did I explain that correctly? I don't know. But I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was good, but it wasn't very, like, it wasn't anything special. The next 2 books I read, well, they're mangas. So, yeah. But it is The Heroic Legend of Arslan, Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Yoshiki Tanaka and Hiromu Arakawa. I started Arslan a while ago when I first got it, but I wasn't feeling the plotline then, and when I recently picked it up, I just flew through it and I was in love with the story. It also left on kind of a cliffhanger, so of course I had to buy the second one. And I liked the second one too. I don't know if I liked it as much as I liked the first one, but it's still a really good manga series, and I definitely would like to continue on with it. The Heroic Legend of Arslan follows, as predicted, Arslan and his adventures. Arslan is the kid prince of the kingdom of Pars, and when you first enter the story, Pars is getting ready to battle with their enemies, Lusitania or Lusitania, something like that, but everything goes horribly wrong. There's a lot of betrayal and bloodshed and battle. Arslan must get away from all of this, so that's when the heroic knight Darien comes into play, and it's basically their adventures of trying to take back their kingdom. I really like the story. I think Darian, he's the cover of this, is very kick-ass. I also like Arslan, but so far Darian is my favorite character. Oh, I also gave these mangas, I think both a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Nick and Norah's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. This is really good. This was really, really, really good. I don't know what to say. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I love the writing. I fell in love with the poetic and whimsical writing of both David Levithan and Rachel Cohn, not to mention it was hilarious and funny and witty. I fell in love with the characters right away, especially with the unpredictable, unexpected, and totally not realistic plotline. Nick and Norah's Infinite Playlist is about a boy named Nick who is playing a show with his band at some club, and while he's there, he sees his ex-girlfriend. So, trying to do everything in his power to avoid her, he goes up to this random girl who happens to be Norah, and he asks her, "Hey, will you be my 5-minute girlfriend?" So then they start making out, and it leads to one hell of a night. I loved it. It was great. You should read it. The next book I read was Love, Fortunes, and Other Disasters by Kimberly Corralius. This book, it was good. It took me a while to get into it. I don't know what it was. Love, Fortunes, and Other Disasters follows a girl named Fallon Dupree. Fallon lives in this quaint little town called Grimbod, where she attends boarding school there. Grimbod is slightly obsessed with the idea of love because love dictates many aspects in their life in this quaint little town. In Grimbod, there is this fortune teller shop called Zita's Fortunes. Zita, since Fallon's grandparents, has been running this fortune teller business where she predicts high schoolers' love lives for the rest of their life. There's a tradition in Fallon's family where Zita's fortunes will lead them to their high school sweetheart, and their high school sweetheart will eventually become the love of their life. Fallon is definitely okay with following this tradition in her family, but that is until she gets a bad fortune. This fortune predicts that she will never find love. Fallon is then approached by these two twins, Mirth and Femke, I believe that's how they say their names. The two twins have a plan to start a rebellion. This rebellion will overthrow Zita and make her stop dictating people's love lives. In this little rebellion group that Fallon joins, she meets this boy named Sebastian, and Sebastian is known as a little heartbreaker around Grimbod. Sebastian also has a bad fortune, saying bad things about his love life. Fallon and Sebastian are fighting to find their own fates and determine their own destinies. I like this book a lot. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, not to mention there's a little bit magically elements in it, like they use charms and stuff, so I found that unique. I read Fire and Flood by Victoria Scott. Fire and Flood came out, I believe, last year, sometime around that. It was very compared to The Hunger Games. I give this book 4 out of 5 stars, but it was more kind of like a 3.75 out of 5 stars. This book follows a girl named Tella who moves to the middle of nowhere by her mother's request because her brother Cody is so sick. One day she discovers this earpiece device on her bed, and the earpiece device tells her all about this race called the Brimstone Bleed. The Brimstone Bleed takes place over a course of 3 months in various different ecosystems. The prize for this race is a cure to any illness. So of course, naturally, Tella wants to join this race for her brother. But she's not exactly the hardcore kick-ass main protagonist that you'd think. I enjoyed Tella's character. She was very witty and funny and refreshing because she's not so kick-ass, but deep down the surface she's very determined and strong. Like, she has this deep inner strength that you don't really see by just kind of looking at her. I enjoyed this book. It's a series, I believe, so I will continue with it, just not quite yet. It was very easy and fast-paced to read. It didn't take much comprehension and understanding. And finally, the last book that I read in the month of June so far, it is Every Day by David by David Levithan. Every day follows the main character A, who is a little different from normal people. A inhabits a different body every single day. He's not the same person every single day. He has the same mind, but he just inhabits someone new, someone different. So right from the start, it is a very interesting and unique premises. I mean, you don't usually think of stuff like this. So for the longest time, A has just been going through his life, moving from body after body after body, and he usually doesn't get attached too much to anyone. Of course, he can't because of his circumstances. He's not normal. But that's until he meets this girl named Rhiannon, or Rhiannon. I really didn't know how to say her name throughout the entire book. But he meets this girl and he falls in love. And every day, even though he's a different person, in the exterior, he can't stop thinking about this one girl. This book was so good. Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I'm in love with this book. It's amazing and everyone should read it. Okay, so that's it for my June wrap-up and little book haul. Let's lift up those books. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!